I remember one day when I was pushed down in the lunch line, and I got pushed down and had to go to the back of the line. In the back of the line were all the black kids. We're always in the back of the line to get lunch. And a little girl named Laretha Jackson said to me, she said, "You always go around looking at your feet. If you don't hold your head up, people are going to beat you down your whole life." And that changed me. That changed my life. It made me a stronger person. It's the most important piece of advice I've ever gotten. It made me a stronger person. It made sure I'd never be a racist. Because this fear I had of black people, as a bullied kid, when black kids came in, I thought those kids were going to beat me up, right? Because they were scary black kids. They didn't care about beating me up. They had more important things to do. In fact, the bullies concentrated on them and stopped concentrating on me. So in many ways, that really made my life. That little girl, those buses, those laws that changed Birmingham from a city that was unmixed to a city that mixed changed my life. This is how we think of America with the Nazis, right? America knocking out the horrible Nazi menace. And we think of that about Britain as well. As you know, we brought down the Nazi menace. We banned eugenics from consciousness. Eugenics disappeared as a word that people in polite society would use and think about as a way of social engineering, because the Nazis had made it so bad that it became unpalatable. The one thing that survived was the IQ test. The idea of data analysis to categorize people persisted well into the modern era and persist to this day. As some of you know, these topics are not gone away by the slightest. So the idea of data analysis to categorize people is a live idea, an idea with a history that cannot be disconnected from racism. So the question is that the indicator that there's something about algorithms? Well, I believe it is, and I'm going to say this: algorithms are prejudiced. Algorithms are prejudiced, and this is a bold statement that I make because I believe it's true, and it's true for the following reason. Let's think about what prejudice means. Prejudice means to prejudge, and how does one prejudge? One prejudges by simplification and generalization. Now, those of you who work in AI will know that AI algorithms are designed to simplify and generalize. That's their job, and that's a good thing. You know, simplifying and generalizing about complex things can be very, very valuable, but it has to be mediated, particularly when it's about people. Now, the way that we do, most of you will know that algorithms that are doing various things out there are largely based on the idea of optimizing some value. There's always something you're trying to maximize. And these things, simplifying, generalizing, and optimizing value, are core principles for a scientific approach to basically trying to manage data and understand data. There's nothing wrong with that, but its history has had a dramatic impact on society when it's applied to human beings. In order for interesting evolution to occur, you need to be in that band that balances mixing and survival of the fittest. Now, what I'm trying to say is this. This is a technical effect. This is an effect we can explore as scientists. This is an effect we can build into our algorithms. The balancing of mixing and survival of the fittest. The balancing of driving towards what we think what's the observed best is and some metric we're using to optimize an algorithm we've built. And a metric that basically says how diverse are the outputs we're giving to human beings. By concentrating on the idea that there's this edge of chaos phenomena, we can actually come up with algorithms that do something that is productive evolution, and algorithms are showing us that's what we should do. That's the right look at evolution, right? And what we're designing online in the massive networks that we're building is an evolutionary system. And we need to emphasize that idea that diversity preservation is an important part of what we need to build. So what I'm talking about is a science-led shift in perspective away from simplifying, generalizing, value-driven, survival of the fittest ideas that descend from this past that we have that's taken social science and turned it into an optimization problem, towards the idea of diversity preservation with mixing. And I want everyone here to think about in all the different algorithms they implement that do different things, what that means. What does it mean to not have an answer come out of an algorithm that is the pat answer that says, here's the maximum value as far as I can aware of it. Instead, giving diverse alternatives as answers and trying to promote diversity actively in order to have more functional algorithmic infrastructure for the future that may end some of these problems of apparent intolerance that seem to pop out of the feedback loops between people and algorithms. And I think if we do this, we can be the agent. We can be the agent of change the way this school bus was the agent of change in my past and the agent of change for a whole generation.